Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how I painted this apple blossom and also answer some of your watercolor questions that came up during the live painting session I did on Instagram. All watercolor materials I've used are listed in the video description below, along with a link to this reference photo. And as always, feel free to download and practice painting yourself. Tag me on Instagram if you do. I love seeing your work. Before we get started, a big thank you to everyone who watched and commented on my previous video. I apologize if I'm slow to respond to your messages these days. My schedule is a bit all over the place for obvious reasons, and honestly it feels like the whole world is upside down if you're watching this in the spring of 2020. But I promise I will eventually get to all your comments, and I'm also making progress on my next Skillshare class, the one with pansies. So enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel and you like what you see. Let's take it to the table. In step one, I'm going to start with some masking fluid covering the stamens. These are really quite thin and will be yellow eventually, but I want to cover them up for now while I'm painting the pink flowers, and I'll also maybe cover up a few highlights on the petals just to make sure they stay white. And in the next step, this is our first layer of color, wet on wet, and honestly I just used every pink and red in my palette, I think, because this was a personal project and I like to play around with pink colors. So lots of quinacridone red, lots of quinacridone coral and magenta. For shadows, I've used a very diluted dioxazine purple from Core. And yes, I'm using a bit of opera pink, a fugitive color. How can I not? It's so vibrant. And for those of you who asked me a question about this during the live painting session, I just wanted to be very clear on the use of fugitive pigments. So there are essentially three scenarios where I typically consider using a fugitive pigment. The first one would be my commercial work, like the coins that feature my watercolors. And so this is where watercolor gets digitized, so the vibrancy and saturation gets preserved forever in a digital format. So of course I use fugitive colors, especially opera pink. It's super vibrant, it's beautiful, and I'm not concerned about fading. The second scenario would be my personal work, and again I end up using quite a bit of opera pink and some other fugitive pigments, not all over because I know they will fade, but kind of sporadically like I do here, and they're just so lovely and I enjoy the process, so why not? For me the process is kind of more important than what the painting will end up looking like 10 years from now. When it comes to a third scenario, which is when you're making an original for sale, that's where you have to be careful, because obviously you have no control over how your work will be presented and stored. My recommendation would be to avoid fugitive pigments altogether. If you do end up using it, you need to obviously provide some good instructions to the buyer on how to store the painting, where to hang it. Away from sunlight would be a general rule of thumb for any watercolor, but especially for watercolors that feature things like opera pink. And you may also want to provide some guidelines on what type of gloss to use when you're framing it. So something like museum or archival glass with UV protection would help. But again, if you're creating work for sale, you may want to avoid pigments like opera pink. Here I skipped ahead a little bit on these flowers and started the second layer, the definition layer, before doing the background layer on other flowers. So generally I try to finish the first layer completely and let it dry, but for some reason I just couldn't wait here and I started adding some details. Now back to working on the background layer for other flowers, and I'm going to finish off the leaves and the branch as well. Okay, now it's time to work on the definition layer for the rest of the flowers and leaves, and I will do several washes building color slowly. I'm really overdoing it with my corals, as you can see. For those of you who are more advanced with watercolor, you can sort of see that I'm slowly losing transparency. My colors are starting to look almost opaque, which is technically a mistake. I honestly don't mind this look, although I realized this is probably breaking all the rules, but I like the vibrancy. We'll see what happens. To erase the masking fluid and paint the yellow stamens using a very warm yellow. I'm gonna finish off the details there with some burnt orange later. Now it's looking very close to being finished, but of course I'm not gonna stop here, and in this last step create lots of accents. So essentially just painting a lot of veins on these flower petals. For the lighter ones, I'm using a very diluted quinacridone red, and for some of those shadow areas, more magenta and carmine. And that's about it. I'm going to sign it, and I hope you enjoyed this demo. Stay safe and sane as much as possible during this crazy time. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.